If you're over 60, there's one place you may never think to check: your tongue. But what it's quietly showing you could be the most honest health warning you've ever been given. Let me explain. The body has a way of whispering before it starts to shout. And in all my years, I've come to learn that the tongue, small as it is, speaks volumes. Not through words, but through color, shape, texture, through dryness or coating, through the quiet signals we often ignore. And when I hit my mid-60s, I began to notice my own tongue didn't look quite the same. A little more pale, a strange white coating that hadn't been there before. At first, I brushed it off: no pain, no problem, right? But then I started feeling it in other places. My energy was lower. My mornings were sluggish. My fingers tingled sometimes, and I just didn't feel right in my own skin. That's when I started paying attention, not just to how I felt, but to what my body was trying to show me. And the tongue, it became my daily check-in, because the truth is, after 60, everything shifts. Circulation slows. Digestion gets more delicate. And the tongue, more than any other part of your body, gives you a window into what's happening inside. Doctors may not always mention it, but if you ask the old-school healers, the ones who have watched people age with quiet wisdom, they'll tell you this: a healthy tongue means a healthy body. And the reverse, it's often true too. So what should you be looking for? Let's start with one of the most common changes I've seen: a pale or white tongue. If you look in the mirror and your tongue appears pale, almost faded, or coated in white, that's not something to ignore. It could be your body's way of saying, "I'm tired." Pale tongues are often linked to low iron, B12 deficiency, or poor blood circulation. And these are especially common as we age. Why? Because our bodies absorb nutrients less efficiently, and because often our meals become less diverse. We eat what's easy, what's familiar, but sometimes that means we're not getting what we truly need. I remember a winter when my tongue looked almost ghostly. I thought maybe it was just dryness, but the fatigue that followed me through the season told a deeper story. Eventually, a simple blood test confirmed what my tongue had been saying all along: low iron, low B12. It was a quiet reminder that the body always speaks, even when we're not listening. So what can you do? First, don't panic. A pale tongue isn't an emergency, but it is an invitation. Start by adding more iron-rich and B12-rich foods to your diet. Leafy greens like spinach, beans, eggs, fortified cereals, and if you're plant-based, speak to your doctor about safe supplements. Hydration helps too. Sometimes what looks like a problem is really just dryness. A warm cup of water with lemon in the morning does more good than you'd think. And if that pale tongue persists, ask your doctor for a simple blood panel. Better to know than to wonder. Now I want to share something personal, something that still humbles me. During a visit to my brother's house, his granddaughter, just 6 years old, tugged at my sleeve. "Grandpa," she said, "your tongue looks funny." She wasn't being rude, just honest, and I realized even a child could see what I had overlooked. So I started checking my tongue each morning, just a quick glance while brushing my teeth, not with fear but with curiosity, like checking the weather before you step outside. Over time, that daily glance became a practice, a quiet act of self-care, and I believe everyone over 60 should have that habit. Now, before I continue, I want to say something important. If this message is helpful to you, if it brings you peace or clarity, please like this video and subscribe to Glowing Age. It helps us reach more people who need gentle reminders like this. We're not just here to talk about aging. We're here to age well together. Let's keep going. Because just as pale tongues can signal deficiency, other colors bring their own messages. A bright red or beefy tongue. This is one I've seen in friends who look healthy on the outside, but inside, their bodies are battling something deeper. A bright red tongue, especially if it looks smooth or overly shiny, can point to inflammation. It might be a sign of vitamin B deficiency, especially B12, folate, or niacin. But it can also indicate heat, internal heat, according to traditional medicine, the kind that comes from stress, overwork, or an overly rich diet. I saw this in myself one summer. My tongue was bright, almost raw-looking. I was drinking less water, eating more processed snacks. My sleep wasn't restful, and that redness was a flag waving in the wind. What helped me? I simplified my food. Less meat, less salt, more cooling foods, cucumbers, watermelon, soups instead of heavy meals. I returned to herbal teas. I took short walks after dinner. Within a couple of weeks, my tongue softened in color. And I did too, because sometimes we don't need a diagnosis. We need a direction. If your tongue is bright red, especially if it stings or feels sore, pay attention. You might be burning the candle at both ends. Slow down, hydrate. Ask yourself what needs to be released: stress, tension, even certain foods. And if the redness stays, check with your doctor. They can run a B vitamin test and make sure it's not something that needs a little support. Now I know this is a lot to take in, but I share it not to overwhelm you, only to empower you. Because no matter your age, your body still wants to be well. It still wants to heal. And your tongue is one of its gentlest messengers. In the next part, I'll talk about a more unusual tongue color, purple or bluish, and what it might mean for your heart and circulation. But for now, I want you to remember this. Your body is not trying to scare you. It's trying to include you. The tongue isn't just a part of your mouth. It's a part of your story, and it's worth reading. Let's talk about a tongue color that surprises a lot of folks, because it's not as obvious, but it's just as important. A purple or bluish tongue. If you look in the mirror and your tongue has a slightly purplish or bluish tone, especially around the edges or underneath, your body might be sending you a quiet message about circulation. Years ago, I visited a friend I hadn't seen in a long time. We were catching up over tea, and she smiled mid-conversation. Something about her tongue caught my eye. It wasn't red, and it wasn't pale. It was slightly dark, almost like the color of a bruise. I asked her how she'd been feeling. "Cold all the time," she said, "and my legs cramp up at night." That got me thinking. A purple tongue can be a sign of poor blood flow, or a sign that oxygen isn't circulating as well as it should be. Sometimes it's linked to heart issues. Sometimes it's connected to medications. And sometimes it's just the body saying, "Move me, warm me, wake me back up." As we age, our veins and arteries lose some elasticity. Blood moves a little slower. We may not feel it right away, but the tongue often shows it first. I've heard doctors explain it like this: if your skin can blush, your tongue can too. And if it can't, that's worth noticing. So what can you do if your tongue leans purple? Don't panic, but do pay attention. Ask yourself, am I moving enough each day? Is my heart rate getting up even just a little? Am I breathing deeply? Gentle movement can work wonders: walking, stretching, even seated exercises that get your blood flowing. Drinking warm fluids, keeping the limbs covered in colder months. These small habits support circulation. And if the purplish color sticks around, mention it to your doctor. It might help them look deeper into heart or lung function. Now let's turn to another common but often misunderstood change: a yellow tongue coating. This one shows up quietly. You might not feel any different, but the mirror doesn't lie. A yellow coating, especially in the center of the tongue, can be a sign that your digestive system is under stress. It might be working too hard. It might be overloaded from medication. Or it might be sluggish, not breaking down food as well as it used to. I remember seeing this once after a particularly indulgent week. I'd eaten more fried foods, less fiber, and more sweets. My mouth felt dry in the morning. My stomach unsettled. And sure enough, my tongue looked a bit yellow. In traditional medicine, this is considered a heat sign, often from the stomach or liver. In Western thinking, it might reflect issues like acid reflux, mild infection, or a need for better hydration. So how do you respond? Support your digestion. Give your body a break. Eat lighter meals for a few days. Drink warm water with lemon in the morning. Add herbs like peppermint or ginger to your tea, and be mindful of medication. Some prescriptions, especially antibiotics, antihistamines, or antacids, can dry the mouth or change its chemistry. That can lead to a change in tongue color. Always talk with your doctor before changing medications. But bring it up. They might adjust the dose or recommend a probiotic to help balance your system. Remember, yellow isn't danger. It's a nudge, a prompt to check in. Now there's one more tongue sign I want to share in this part of the video, and it might be the most common of all: a dry, cracked, or patchy tongue. If your tongue feels dry, rough, or has visible cracks, especially down the middle, it's often a sign of dehydration or sometimes hormonal shifts. I see this often in postmenopausal women and in seniors who take several medications. Our bodies naturally produce less saliva as we age. And dry mouth isn't just uncomfortable. It affects digestion, speech, sleep, even dental health. One morning, I woke up feeling like I had sandpaper in my mouth. My tongue looked rough. I realized I'd barely had water the day before. I'd had coffee, a little soup, but not much else, so I made a small change. I began keeping a glass of water by my bedside. I added an extra cup of warm tea mid-morning. I started using a humidifier in the winter. Within days, the dryness softened. My tongue smoothed out. I felt better. Cracks in the tongue can also point to vitamin deficiencies, often B-complex or zinc. And in some cases, they can be part of a condition called geographic tongue, harmless but worth watching. The point is, if your tongue feels like sand, give it water. If it looks patchy, give it patience. And if it hurts or worsens, talk to a doctor, because dryness is often just a sign that your body is craving care. I hope these 3 signs, purple, yellow, and dry, remind you that your tongue isn't a mystery. It's a map to how your body is doing right now. A guide to what needs more attention, more softness, more kindness. In the next part of this series, I'll talk about what a healthy tongue looks like, and how you can support yours daily with just a few gentle habits. But before we continue, I'd love to know, have you ever looked at your tongue and noticed something unexpected? Drop a comment below. And if this video has helped you tune in more closely to your body, please like it and subscribe to Glowing Age. This isn't just about health. It's about honoring the signs, the quiet ones that lead us back to wholeness. Your body is always talking. Let's learn to listen together. Let's shift now from warning signs to wellness. Because while it's helpful to know when something's wrong, it's just as important to recognize what right looks like. And for many older adults, that starts with understanding one simple thing. What does a healthy tongue actually look like after 60? It's easy to forget that the body changes slowly, gently. What looked normal at 30 may not look the same in your 70s, and that's not always a bad thing. So let's clear something up first. A healthy tongue after 60 might not be baby pink and spotless, and that's okay. In fact, here's what's considered a good sign: light pink or pale red in color. Moist but not coated. Slightly textured, not glossy. Free of sores, swelling, or deep cracks. No thick, unusual coating. That's a tongue that reflects balance. Hydration, good digestion, decent circulation. One of the wisest older women I knew used to call her tongue her truth teller. Every morning, she'd stand in front of the mirror with her toothbrush and say, "Let's see how we're doing, old girl." She wasn't checking for perfection. She was checking for presence. Was her body still speaking gently? Was it at ease? Over time, I adopted that same habit. Not to judge, not to worry, but just to say, "I see you, body, I'm still here. We're still working together." So now that we know what we're aiming for, let me share a few simple things you can do daily, gently, to support a healthy tongue, and through it, a healthier life. 1. Start your day with warm water. Before coffee, before breakfast, before you speak, try this: a mug of warm water. Plain or with a slice of lemon. It wakes up digestion, flushes the system, moistens the mouth and tongue, and it's a peaceful way to begin. I've been doing this for years now, and it's become a ritual. Not just hydration, but harmony. To brush not just your teeth, but your tongue. A soft sweep of the toothbrush across your tongue can do wonders. Or use a tongue scraper, a simple, inexpensive tool you can find at any pharmacy. Why does this matter? Because bacteria love to build up on the tongue. That coating, that morning breath, often it's just debris left behind. Removing it not only freshens the mouth, it can improve taste, reduce bad breath, and give you a clearer look at what's going on. 3. Stay hydrated in small, regular sips. Don't wait until you're thirsty. Sip throughout the day. Herbal teas, soups, fruits with high water content, they all count. Dry mouth is more than annoying. It can lead to cracks, bad breath, even trouble swallowing. I keep a small carafe on my table now. Refill it once mid-morning, once after lunch. Simple, quiet, effective. 4. Eat foods that support moisture and circulation. Cooling fruits like pears, cucumbers, watermelon, warming spices like ginger and cinnamon, leafy greens. Broths, healthy oils. These nourish your blood and support tongue health, not in isolation, but as part of your whole inner ecosystem. 5. Mind your medications and supplements. As we age, many of us take more medications. Some dry out the mouth. Others affect digestion or nutrient absorption. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist. Ask, is this causing dryness? Should I take it with food? Are there alternatives? Your tongue may be trying to tell you that a simple adjustment is needed. 6. Pay attention to stress. Believe it or not, stress can affect your tongue. It can cause clenching, dryness, ulcers, even subtle changes in color. The more I've learned to breathe deeply, rest fully, and let go of tension, the healthier my mouth feels. Sometimes the softest solutions are the most powerful. Now, before we wrap up this part of the video, let me share something from my own life. There was a period a few years back when my tongue felt constantly coated. I tried more brushing, more water. Nothing helped. Turns out I wasn't breathing well at night. Mild sleep apnea was causing dry mouth, poor sleep, and you guessed it, a white-coated tongue. A simple mouth guard helped. Better pillows, improved sleep. My tongue cleared. My mind did too. That's the beauty of paying attention. One small sign can lead you to a bigger solution. So don't dismiss your tongue. Don't be afraid to look. It's not just about avoiding illness, it's about building awareness. And with awareness comes freedom. If you found this message useful, if it's helping you feel more connected to your health, I hope you'll take a moment to like this video and subscribe to Glowing Age. Not because we're chasing views, but because every new subscriber reminds someone else that aging can be a time of wisdom, not worry. In the next part of this series, I'll talk about when it's time to seek help, the tongue symptoms you shouldn't ignore, and how to bring them up with confidence. But for now, remember this: a healthy tongue doesn't look perfect, it looks cared for, and care begins with awareness. Every morning you wake up and check in with your body is a victory. You're not aging in the dark, you're aging with light. There's a difference between something being unusual and something being urgent. And as we continue this journey into what the tongue reveals after 60, I want to speak to that difference clearly. Because most changes to your tongue are gentle signals, subtle nudges. They ask for your attention, not your alarm. But there are a few signs, just a few, that do need a closer look. And in this part of our conversation, I want to walk you through them. Calmly, clearly. Not to scare you, but to help you walk into your next doctor's visit informed and confident. Let's begin with one of the most overlooked but potentially serious signs. One, persistent white patches that don't rub off. It's normal for the tongue to have a light white coating sometimes, especially in the morning. But if you notice defined white patches that don't go away with brushing, especially if they're raised or feel thick, it could be something more than simple dryness or buildup. One possibility is a condition called leukoplakia. It's usually benign, but in rare cases can become cancerous, especially in people who have smoked or used alcohol heavily in the past. Another condition, oral thrush, can cause white patches that do rub off, but may come back. It's a fungal imbalance, often related to antibiotics, immune issues, or diabetes. Either way, if you see something on your tongue that stays longer than 2 weeks, get it checked. Don't wait for pain. Pain isn't always present. Just bring it up. Your doctor or dentist can take a quick look and give you peace of mind or early support if needed. 2. Tongue sores that don't heal. We all bite our tongue from time to time, or burn it with hot tea. Those minor wounds heal quickly. But if you notice a sore, ulcer, or raw spot that lingers more than 10 days, especially if it's on one side or seems to grow, don't ignore it. Oral cancers are rare, but they do occur more often after 60. The earlier they're found, the better the outcome. Again, don't panic, but do prioritize. One woman I knew noticed a small sore under her tongue that didn't hurt, but also didn't heal. She mentioned it during a routine dental cleaning. Her dentist sent her for a scan. It turned out to be precancerous. She had it treated early, and she's fine now, thriving in fact. That small act of speaking up made all the difference. 3. Sudden changes in tongue movement or speech. Your tongue helps you speak, eat, and swallow. So if you notice new difficulties, slurred words, trouble moving food in your mouth, or a tongue that feels weak or stiff, it's time to call your doctor. Sometimes this could signal a minor nerve issue. Sometimes it's a sign of something more serious, even a small stroke. I knew a man who began having trouble saying certain words. He thought it was just old age. But after some convincing, he saw his physician. It was an early sign of a mini stroke. He got help quickly, made some lifestyle changes, and avoided something worse. Remember, your tongue is connected to your brain. If something changes suddenly, it deserves attention. 4. Numbness or tingling in the tongue. This can happen after dental work, or from a pinched nerve in the neck. But if it comes on without explanation, And especially if it comes with other symptoms, don't ignore it. Numbness can signal nutritional deficiencies, especially B12. It can also be linked to nerve damage, medication side effects, or in some rare cases, more serious conditions. If you feel like your tongue is losing sensation, bring it up. No concern is too small when it's about your body's ability to taste, talk, and eat. 5. A rapidly swelling tongue. This one is rare, but when it happens, it's urgent. If your tongue suddenly swells, especially if it's accompanied by trouble breathing or a rash, it could be an allergic reaction, possibly to a food, medication, or supplement. This is not a wait-and-see moment. Seek emergency care. Even if the swelling subsides on its own, follow up. Your provider can help you identify the trigger and avoid it in the future. Sometimes the body overreacts to a new substance, and sometimes the tongue is the first to tell you. Now that's a lot of information, but remember, most tongue changes are harmless, reversible, manageable with a bit of care, but these 5 persistent white patches, sores that don't heal, changes in movement or speech, numbness or tingling, sudden swelling, they're not a reason to panic. They're a reason to speak up, and there's courage in that. Your doctor doesn't expect you to have all the answers. They just need your observations, your willingness to say, I noticed this and I'd like your input. That's advocacy, that's wisdom. That's how we age with dignity. In the next part of this video, I'll share a few final thoughts, quiet reminders on how to care for your body like the trusted companion it's been all these years. But for now, I hope this message gives you peace, not fear. Because even when the tongue gives warnings, it does so gently. You don't need to be afraid of your body. You just need to stay in relationship with it. And if this video has helped you feel more informed, more calm, or more confident, I hope you'll like it and subscribe to Glowing Age. This community grows stronger with every voice that joins. Let's keep learning together. Let's end where we began, with quiet attention. If there's one truth I've come to accept with age, it's this. Your body doesn't stop talking just because you stop listening. The tongue, small as it is, carries some of your oldest stories. And if you pay close attention, even for just a minute each day, it will offer you insights, direction, and sometimes even a warning before anything else does. But more than that, it offers a chance to reconnect with the body you've lived in for decades. The one that's walked you through grief and joy, that's bent with you in gardens, held babies, cooked meals, hugged friends. That body deserves kindness and a little curiosity. What if we stopped treating health as something to fight and started treating it as something to notice? What if each wrinkle, each crack, each dry spot or discolored patch was less a flaw and more a message? A simple, gentle note from your body to your heart. Take care of me, I'm still here. Here's how I end my day now. I brush my teeth, rinse my face, and I look in the mirror not for youth but for truth. I check my tongue, not with judgment but with familiarity, and I ask softly, how are we doing today? Some nights I see dryness, so I set water by the bed. Some nights I see red, so I write in my journal and let the stress go. Some nights I see calm pink, and I say thank you. This too is aging, not the headlines and health scares, but the quiet tending, the choice to see yourself fully as still growing, still worthy of attention, still capable of change, still filled with life. So wherever you are today, 60, 70, 85, let this be your gentle reminder. You are not aging in silence. You are aging with a voice, with a body that wants to be known, and with a community that's listening. That's what we do here at Glowing Age. We learn together, we grow softer together, and we find peace not by escaping age, but by walking through it with open eyes and open hearts. If this video has spoken to you in any way, I invite you to subscribe and become part of this circle. And if you're still watching, I'd love to know, what's one thing your body has tried to tell you lately? Drop it in the comments. Not just to share, but to remember, you are not alone in listening. From my heart to yours, thank you for your time, your trust, and your presence. Your tongue isn't just a tool, it's a guide. And every time you check it, you check back in with yourself. That's a habit worth keeping. That's a kindness worth giving. Stay curious, stay compassionate, and most of all, stay connected. You're doing better than you think. And there is still so much life ahead. Let me leave you with one last thought, not from a book or a study, but from life. The older I've gotten, the more I've learned that the smallest acts hold the deepest power. A sip of water before bed, a pause before speaking, A quiet glance at your tongue, not to find fault, but to offer care. This is how we stay present. This is how we age with grace. When I was young, I thought aging was about loss, what we give up, what we no longer do. But now I see it differently. Aging is about remembering, remembering to listen, remembering to rest, remembering that the body is not a machine to be fixed, it is a friend to be honored, and that friend has something to say every day. Your tongue may never speak a word on its own, but it reflects what you eat, how you sleep, the tension you carry, the joy you hold, and the love you give. It's more than muscle and tissue. It's memory. It's a pulse. It's a mirror. And all it asks of you is to look, not with worry, but with willingness. So tomorrow morning or even tonight when you brush your teeth, take one extra breath. Look at your tongue. Smile at it, not because it's perfect, but because it's honest. It will tell you things long before a chart or a scan. And if you listen, it may help you walk through aging not with fear, but with confidence. I hope these words have given you something to hold on to. Something simple, something sacred. If they have, I hope you'll share this video with someone you love. Someone who may not know how much they can learn from their own body. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to Glowing Age. We are building a space where aging isn't a problem to solve. It's a path to walk, together with softness, with strength, with steady hands and open hearts. Your body still matters, your awareness still matters. And you, yes, you still matter. You're not fading, you're unfolding. Let that truth carry you forward. Thank you for spending this time with me. Until next time, be well, be gentle, and above all, be present.